The National Electrical Code (NEC) provides requirements for the proper installation of utility-owned transformers and facilities inside customer premises or buildings. These requirements are primarily found in Article 450 of the NEC. The installation of utility-owned transformers inside customer buildings is generally permitted, but it must adhere to the strict guidelines outlined in the NEC and any additional requirements imposed by the local utility company. Article 450 covers various aspects of transformer installations, including location, ventilation, fire protection, electrical connections, and grounding. Firstly, regarding location, the transformer or facility must be located in a dedicated room or enclosure. This room or enclosure should be accessible only to qualified personnel, which means individuals who have the skills and knowledge related to the construction and operation of the electrical equipment and installations and have received safety training to recognize and avoid the hazards involved. The purpose of this requirement is to restrict access to the transformer to prevent unauthorized individuals from tampering with the equipment or potentially being exposed to electrical hazards. Secondly, concerning ventilation, the room or enclosure housing the transformer must be adequately ventilated. This is to prevent the accumulation of heat and flammable vapors. Transformers generate heat during operation, and if the heat is not dissipated properly, it can lead to overheating and potential equipment failure. Adequate ventilation helps to maintain the transformer's operating temperature within safe limits. Additionally, some transformers use oil as a coolant, and in the event of a leak, flammable vapors may be released. Proper ventilation helps to prevent the buildup of these vapors, reducing the risk of fire or explosion. Thirdly, related to fire protection, the transformer or facility must be protected by an automatic sprinkler system or other approved fire protection system. Transformers, especially those containing oil, pose a fire hazard. An automatic sprinkler system is designed to detect and suppress fires quickly, minimizing damage and preventing the fire from spreading to other parts of the building. Other approved fire protection systems may include fire-resistant enclosures, fire extinguishers, or fire suppression systems using alternative agents. The choice of fire protection system depends on the size and type of transformer, as well as the specific requirements of the local building codes. Fourthly, thinking about electrical connections, the transformer or facility must be connected to the customer's electrical system through a disconnecting means that is readily accessible. A disconnecting means is a switch or circuit breaker that can be used to energize the transformer for maintenance or in the event of an emergency. The disconnecting means must be readily accessible, meaning that it should be located in a place where it can be easily reached and operated. This allows qualified personnel to quickly shut off power to the transformer if necessary. Finally, regarding grounding, the transformer or facility must be grounded in accordance with Article 250 of the NEC. Grounding is a critical safety measure that helps to protect against electrical shock and equipment damage. Grounding provides a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, which causes the overcurrent protection device, such as a circuit breaker or fuse, to trip and to energize the circuit. This helps to prevent dangerous voltage levels from appearing on the metal parts of the equipment, which could pose a shock hazard. Article 250 of the NEC provides detailed requirements for grounding electrical systems and equipment, including the size and type of grounding conductors, the methods of connecting to ground, and the location of grounding electrodes. In addition to the NEC requirements, it is important to contact the local utility company for specific instructions on the installation and maintenance of their equipment. Utility companies may have additional requirements that are not covered in the NEC, such as specific clearances, metering requirements, or grounding practices. Failure to comply with these requirements could result in the utility company refusing to connect the transformer to their system. When installing a utility-owned transformer inside a customer building, it is crucial to work closely with the utility company and a qualified electrical contractor to ensure that the installation meets all applicable codes and standards. This will help to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system and prevent potential problems in the future. Let's delve into more detail on each of these key aspects. Beginning with location, the requirement for a dedicated room or enclosure is paramount. This space should not be used for storage or any other purpose that could obstruct access to the transformer or create a fire hazard. The room or enclosure should be constructed of fire-resistant materials and should have a self-closing, fire-rated door. The door should be marked with a warning sign indicating the presence of high-voltage equipment and restricting access to qualified personnel only. The location of the transformer room should also be carefully considered. It should be located in an area that is not subject to flooding or other environmental hazards. It should also be located away from areas where there is a high risk of physical damage to the transformer. The transformer should be installed on a concrete pad or other suitable foundation to provide a stable and level surface. Moving on to ventilation, the amount of ventilation required depends on the size and type of transformer. The manufacturer's specifications will provide information on the required ventilation. Ventilation can be provided by natural means such as louvers or vents, or by mechanical means such as fans. If fans are used, they should be sized to provide the required airflow and should be equipped with a means of automatic startup in case of a power failure. The ventilation system should be designed to prevent the accumulation of flammable vapors. If the transformer contains oil, the ventilation system should be designed to remove any oil vapors that may be released in the event of a leak. The ventilation system should also be designed to prevent the entry of rain, snow, or other foreign objects. Shifting focus to fire protection, the automatic sprinkler system should be designed to provide adequate coverage of the transformer and the surrounding area. The sprinkler head should be selected based on the type of fire hazard present. If the transformer contains oil, the sprinkler head should be designed to discharge a water mist that will cool the oil and prevent it from igniting. Other approved fire protection systems may include a fire-resistant enclosure around the transformer. This enclosure is designed to contain the fire and prevent it from spreading to other parts of the building. Fire extinguishers should also be provided in the transformer room. The extinguishers should be of the appropriate type for the fire hazard present. For example, a carbon dioxide extinguisher is suitable for electrical fires. The fire protection system should be inspected and maintained regularly to ensure that it is in good working order. Considering electrical connections, the disconnecting means should be a circuit breaker or switch that is capable of interrupting the full load current of the transformer. The disconnecting means should be located within sight of the transformer or be capable of being locked in the open position. This prevents the transformer from being inadvertently energized while someone is working on it. The disconnecting means should be clearly labeled to indicate its purpose. The electrical connections to the transformer should be made in accordance with the NEC and the manufacturer's instructions. The conductors should be sized to carry the full load current of the transformer and should be protected by overcurrent protection devices such as circuit breakers or fuses. The conductors should be installed in conduit or other approved raceway to protect them from physical damage. Finally, thinking about grounding, the grounding system should be designed to provide a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source. This will help to ensure that the overcurrent protection devices will trip quickly in the event of a fault, protecting against electrical shock and equipment damage. The grounding system should be connected to a grounding electrode system, which consists of one or more grounding electrodes that are buried in the earth. The grounding electrode should be made of copper or other approved material. The grounding system should be inspected and tested regularly to ensure that it is in good working order. In addition to these specific requirements, the NEC also contains general requirements for electrical installations, such as requirements for wiring methods, overcurrent protection, and equipment labeling. It is important to be familiar with all of the applicable requirements of the NEC before installing a utility-owned transformer inside a customer building. It's important to reiterate, always contact the local utility company for specific instructions on the installation and maintenance of their equipment. They may have additional requirements that are not covered in the NEC. For example, the utility company may require the customer to install a specific type of metering equipment. They may also require the customer to provide a dedicated telephone line for remote monitoring of the transformer. The utility company may also have specific requirements for the grounding of the transformer. In summary, installing a utility-owned transformer inside a customer building requires careful planning and attention to detail. It is important to comply with all applicable codes and standards, including the NEC and the requirements of the local utility company. By following these guidelines, you can ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical system and prevent potential problems in the future. Remember that qualified personnel should always be involved in the installation and maintenance of electrical equipment. These individuals have the training and experience necessary to perform the work safely and correctly. They can also help to identify potential problems and ensure that the installation meets all applicable requirements. It is also important to keep accurate records of the installation, including drawings, specifications, and test results. These records can be helpful for future maintenance and troubleshooting. Furthermore, consider these additional points related to transformer installations. Firstly, environmental considerations are important. Transformers can be noisy and can generate electromagnetic fields. These factors should be considered when selecting a location for the transformer. The transformer should be located in an area where it will not disturb occupants of the building or nearby properties. Shielding may be required to reduce the electromagnetic fields. Secondly, consider accessibility. The transformer should be located in an area that is easily accessible for maintenance and repair. There should be adequate space around the transformer to allow for safe working conditions. The transformer should be located away from areas where there is a risk of physical damage. Thirdly, think about security. The transformer should be located in a secure area to prevent unauthorized access. The transformer room should be locked and alarmed. Security cameras may be installed to monitor the area. Fourthly, consider future expansion. If there is a possibility that the electrical load will increase in the future, the transformer should be sized to accommodate the future load. It may be necessary to install a larger transformer or to provide space for an additional transformer. Fifthly, think about maintenance. Transformers require regular maintenance to ensure that they operate properly. The maintenance should include inspections, testing, and cleaning. The maintenance should be performed by qualified personnel. Sixthly, consider disposal. When a transformer is no longer needed, it must be disposed of properly. Transformers may contain hazardous materials such as oil or PCB. The disposal must be done in accordance with all applicable regulations. Seventhly, consider documentation. All aspects of the transformer installation should be properly documented. This includes drawings, specifications, test results, and maintenance records. The documentation should be kept in a safe place and should be readily available for future reference. Eighthly, consider training. Personnel who work on transformers should be properly trained. The training should include safety procedures, operating instructions, and maintenance procedures. The training should be provided by qualified instructors. Ninthly, consider emergency procedures. Emergency procedures should be developed for dealing with transformer failures. The procedures should include steps for isolating the transformer, contacting the utility company, and notifying building occupants. The procedures should be posted at a conspicuous location. Tenthly, consider insurance. The transformer should be covered by insurance in case of damage or failure. The insurance policy should cover the cost of repairs or replacement. Keep these points in mind when installing and maintaining utility-owned transformers inside customer buildings. This information is intended to provide a general overview of the requirements for installing utility-owned transformers inside customer buildings. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional engineering advice. Always consult with a qualified electrical engineer before undertaking any electrical work. Understanding the National Electrical Code and adhering to local utility requirements is essential for ensuring the safe and reliable operation of electrical systems involving transformers.